Game collecting sounds simple, right? Go out, buy a game, add it to your shelf, rinse repeat, boom, you're a game collector. While it's easy to break this hobby down to its basics, many collectors, myself included, often start this journey without a clear vision of the end goal. We all begin with good intentions, hoping to build a collection that reflects who we are as a gamer. But before long, it's 2 AM and we're bidding on games like My Horse and Me Too for the Xbox 360, asking ourselves, where did it all go wrong? How did it come to this? To keep you on track and to help you avoid those late night bidding regrets, in today's video, we'll discuss tips on how to get into game collecting, how to make it sustainable financially, and most importantly, how to have fun with it. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your collecting journey, I hope you'll find some value in these tips. And with the new year just around the corner, there's never been a better time to start building that dream game collection. So, you've decided to become a game collector. My condolences to your wallet. But in all seriousness, before you start splashing the cash like Man City in a transfer window and buying anything that vaguely resembles a game, take a step back and think about what kind of collection you want to build. Game collecting often starts with nostalgia, and for many of us, that means collecting games we had or desperately wanted as kids. And it's not a bad place to begin your collecting journey with. Buying consoles and games that defined your childhood can be a fantastic gateway into this hobby. Not only does it give your collection direction, but each purchase will hopefully bring back fond memories, reminding you why you love gaming in the first place. Another great approach to game collecting is to limit yourself to just certain consoles, genres, or even specific subsets. Maybe you grew up with a PlayStation 1 and want to relive those 90s classics, or perhaps you're like me and absolutely love JRPGs, immersing yourself in epic stories paired with banging OSTs. While it's always good to broaden your horizons and discover genres or consoles you might have overlooked in the past, narrowing your focus ensures that every game has value in your collection. It keeps your collection purposeful, filled with titles you're generally excited to play at some point in the future, rather than games collecting dust on the shelf. At the start of your collecting journey, it's all too easy to take a scattergun approach, walking into a retro game store or browsing online and feeling the urge to buy everything in sight. If you've been at the game for a while, pardon the pun, every game can seem new and shiny. However, by focusing on nostalgia-driven titles, specific consoles, or genres you truly love, you'll avoid ending up with a bunch of shelf fillers and save yourself from wasting tons of money. Collecting should bring joy, not regret, so having a clear focus will help keep your collection meaningful and your wallet much happier. So, you've heard the first point about collecting with purpose and having a clear direction, but maybe you're thinking, I don't have nostalgia for anything, or I haven't played anything in years and don't even know where to start. Don't worry, I've got you covered. Let's go through a few systems that are great entry points for any collector getting started, whether you're completely new to the hobby or just feeling a bit lost. I'll focus on consoles that strike a fine balance between availability, price and game selection, so you can dive in without breaking the bank or feeling overwhelmed. While I fully endorse following your heart and collecting the systems you feel a deep connection to, it's worth noting that most consoles released before the PlayStation 2 era, like the PlayStation 1 or the Super Nintendo, tend to be very pricey. Even the GameCube, which came out in 2001, has become ridiculously expensive to collect for. That's why I'd recommend starting from the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox generation if you're unsure where to begin. Between the two, the original Xbox often offers cheaper prices for third-party games and boasts better frame rates and resolutions thanks to its more powerful hardware. It also has some fantastic exclusives like Fable, Halo and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. On the other hand, the PlayStation 2 is probably more widely available, and if you're into JRPGs like myself, it's an absolute goldmine. Both consoles generally cost around £60 to £80, so just go with whichever console has the most appealing game library to you. If you're more into HD consoles, the PS3 is probably the best option from the 7th generation. The Xbox 360 is still an absolute mess after the closure of its marketplace, with many games now priced higher than they used to be and way higher than the PS3 counterparts. That being said, if you can find a bundle at a good price, especially from the car boot sales, it's not a bad choice, especially since the Xbox 360 was the most common console I found last season at the car boot sales. Personally, I still prefer the PS3 because of its expansive library of JRPGs, but I also keep my Xbox 360 around for Lost Odyssey. Please, Miss Walker, give us a remaster or something. Both systems are on the rise in terms of price, typically costing around £40 to £60 for a console, so either one is a solid option depending on what game library appeals to you. But gun to my head, if you were to ask me the best system to collect for considering game library, quality, availability and overall value, I'd have to say the PlayStation 4. With an incredible library that covers nearly every genre, from amazing first party titles like The Last of Us and God of War to platformers like Ratchet & Clank and even weird games like Death Stranding, the PS4 truly offers something for every gamer. Almost every major third party release also came to the PS4. The cherry on top of the cake is that nearly every PS4 game in your library can be played on the PS5, making it a solid choice for future-proofing your collection. Ultimately, no matter which console you choose to collect for, the most important thing is that it brings you joy and holds a special place in your gaming setup. Before you dive into the world of collecting and start adding PS3 essentials and graded grails to your collection, I'd highly recommend setting a monthly budget for how much you're willing to spend on games. Now, I don't know your financial situation, and ultimately it's up to you how much you spend on this hobby, but it's all too easy to get carried away and end up with a hefty credit card bill, especially with the endless options of consoles and games to collect for. Setting a budget will help keep things manageable and ensure that your collection doesn't get out of hand financially. Even if your disposable income is limited, you can still dive into this amazing hobby without breaking the bank. There are plenty of fantastic games available for under £10, and many YouTube channels document £10 CEX challenges, proving that great titles don't always have to come with a hefty price tag. Remember, just because a game is cheap doesn't mean it's bad, and likewise, an expensive game isn't always the best game. Most pricey games are expensive because they're rare, often due to poor sales or a lackluster reception at launch. If you're aiming to collect those rarer, more expensive titles on a limited budget, then you'll need to get creative and stretch your money further. A fantastic way to do this is by visiting the car boot sales, where you can buy games, DVDs, Blu-rays and electrical items and then trade them into CX for those sweet vouchers. During peak car boot season, I turned £40 to £50 into over £200 worth of CEX credit. You can even take it a step further than me by making your collection self-sustaining, ensuring that you always recoup your initial investment at the car boot sales. Great channels like Gentlemen of Games have mastered this strategy. You start the year with an initial investment of say £40, and then every week he sells items for cash to make back what he's spent, and anything left over gets traded into CX for those free vouchers. You can even apply this approach by buying bundles on Facebook Marketplace, selling the items to cover your initial investment, and then keeping or trading the remainder of the bundle. That being said, if a game is simply too expensive or you can't justify spending that much money on a particular title, there are alternatives. One option is to buy loose games. While I love having complete in-box games on my Billy bookcase shelves, if you're just interested in playing the game rather than having the complete in-box experience, collecting loose carts and discs can be a cost-effective approach. You can always add the box and manual later if that becomes important to you. If this still proves too expensive, emulation is another route. While I don't condone piracy, I understand that sometimes a game is just too expensive and out of reach. With a bit of time spent setting up emulation, you'll always have the option to experience the game without breaking the bank. The key takeaway here is that with a little creativity, you can make your collecting journey more affordable and even self-sustaining. Whether you choose to fund your collection with straight up money or make it financially sustainable by flipping items bought at the car boot sales, remember that collecting doesn't have to break the bank. Now that you've got a good idea of which console to collect for and have set aside a budget, it's now time to start purchasing games. My top recommendation is to always buy in person when possible, especially for those more expensive pickups. This allows you to inspect the condition of the game firsthand to make sure that it meets your standards. Local retro game stores are a fantastic option, and supporting these independent businesses has never been more important as we move further into the age of online shopping. If you don't have any retro game stores nearby, high street stores like Game and Smiths are good options for modern games, and in the UK, CEX is a go-to place for retro games. Charity shops can also be a decent place, but it's becoming more challenging to find games there, with many now ending up on eBay. And of course, car boots are an excellent place to pick up cheap games. I've documented plenty of great pickups from car boots here on the channel, so make sure you watch those. If, like me, you hate dealing with the hustle and bustle of shopping and would rather do it from the comfort of your home, then eBay is a great place for retro games. Just be aware that you'll likely pay a premium, as most sellers are aware of the value of their products. You also have CEX's online storefront and Amazon, which occasionally stock retro games. But a hidden gem for some amazing pickups is Vinted. I've saved so much money using this platform, and although it doesn't have the wide range of products that CEX and eBay offer, it's an amazing place to pick up games at a reduced price. Facebook Marketplace can also be a good place to find bundles, though it does unfortunately require leaving the house. There's no one size fits all when it comes to where to buy games from. It really depends on your location, but part of the fun of collecting is the thrill of the hunt and the excitement of not knowing what you're going to find. Whether you prefer the tactile experience of browsing in person or the convenience of shopping online, there are plenty of options out there. Just be sure to always check the condition of the games you're picking up and keep an eye out for great deals wherever they may be. Congratulations and welcome to the club. You're now a game collector, and hopefully your Billy bookcases are sparkling with tons of amazing games. You can proudly showcase your collection to friends and family, but as your collection starts to grow, it might start becoming a challenge to remember what games you own or still want to add to your collection. That's where game cataloging apps and making lists come in handy. A great free app I highly recommend is GameEye, a fantastic game tracker app available on both Android and iOS. This app lets you catalog games either by searching for the title or scanning the barcode. You can specify the condition of the game, whether it's complete in box, and how much you paid for it. While the UI isn't the best, it's functional and includes useful search filters based on year, console, publisher, and even a value tracker. Another great option is Backlogged, a website that not only helps you track your collection, but also allows you to review games and engage with many collectors on the platform. These tools also allow you to wishlist games, helping you stay focused on the titles you want to add to your collection while shopping. For example, CX has a wishlist feature with stock alert notifications to let you know when a game is back in stock. If you prefer something simpler, you can even use a spreadsheet or your phone's note app, or even take photos of your collection. Whatever method you choose, I recommend going digital. It's the easiest way to manage your growing collection and to keep things organised. My final point is to enjoy the collecting journey. Remember, being a game collector is a marathon, not a sprint. Never feel pressure to rush for your collecting journey or to jump on the first deal you see if the price or condition isn't up to your standards. Patience is a virtue, and deals will always come around again in the future. Taking your time not only helps you find better bargains, but also makes the process far more enjoyable and rewarding. And most importantly, remember that this hobby is meant to be fun. Hopefully, you're collecting games because you love playing them. Don't lose sight of why you started collecting games, and make sure you actually enjoy the games in your collection. It's far too easy to become so focused on acquiring games that you forget to play them. Don't let collecting consume your every thought or take over your life. I recently made a video about how game collecting can turn into an obsession or even an addiction, and I'll explore this topic in way more depth there. And if you're interested, it's worth watching if you feel collecting is starting to overwhelm you. A great way to keep the hobby fun and fulfilling is by sharing your journey with others. Document your journey and your pickups on social media, or start a conversation with friends who are also into game collecting and gaming. Platforms like Instagram and YouTube are fantastic for connecting with like-minded collectors. Not only can you showcase your progress, but you can also inspire others and learn from the community. Sharing your journey as a social and creative aspect to collecting, which can make it far more enjoyable and engaging. So there you have it, folks. These are all the things I wish I knew before starting my journey as a game collector. I hope this guide inspires you to dive into this amazing hobby of game collecting and helps you avoid some of the mistakes I made along the way. Remember, game collecting is all about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of discovery, and most importantly, having fun. Now, I want to hear from you, my fellow collectors. Sound off in the comments below with your tips and advice to help inspire others to join the game collecting community. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to hit the like button and consider subscribing to the Collector's Quest channel for car boot hunts, pickup videos, game room tours, and deep dive discussions about game collecting. And like I always say, good luck on your game hunts and collecting adventures. Take it easy, YouTube, and I'll catch you in the next one.